Hey, it's Chuck here. Welcome back. We've had a couple months off, and so the reason why mostly is because of this weird thing that happened with the data in real estate. So there's the Toronto Real Estate Board, the Oakville Milton Real Estate Board, and so they always used to share information. They no longer do. So now we have two completely distinct sets of information. Where that affects your life is for the links down below: detached townhouses, condo apartments, rural stuff. We've now had to put two different links to correspond to each one of those sets of data. Some of them have the sale report on both, some of them are just one or the other. So it's basically what we do when we do the research for a home. We now have to do everything in duplicate. Now, the important point that I want you to think about is that if you're interviewing people to sell your home, if your listing agent's only part of one real estate board, Oakville Milton, for example, a couple thousand members, Toronto, 35,000 members. So if they're just part of Oakville Milton, the local agents will see that because we've got to be a part of that. But agents from Mississauga, from Toronto, from the east side of town, they're not even going to know about it. It's a very dangerous thing. So make sure one of the questions to ask at any listing appointment is that agent part of both real estate boards? And if they look at you and they go, "What are you talking about?" that's a big red flag. So that's one of the things to definitely carefully consider. This is the August 2013 report. Our team is 3 licensed agents plus a full-time admin. And what's nice about that is that we're all specialists. And so I only specialize on the listing side. I generally don't work with buyers because it's important to really know that side inside and out. Marketing wise, we do a lot of things. We do custom QR codes, custom websites. We've got huge exposure that I'll talk about at the end of the video to a massive list through miltondailyhomes.com, which we do daily video updates of all the homes that come out for sale. So bottom line is, compared to the board average, we're selling for 1.5% higher. We're doing it in half the time. So more money in your pocket and less time is what every seller wants. And I think we also revere a lot of the parts of the process. One of the biggest complaints about agents is communication. We have a weekly communication guarantee. We also have something called an easy exit guarantee, which means you can fire us whenever you want, because we want to reapply for our job constantly in this process. And we want you to be happy, and we don't want you to be stuck with someone who's not doing something. So the report itself, you're going to notice this is general information, averages, stats, even the individual sales below. It's generally not stated what's included with that sale. We don't know what else they were competing against, what their motivation was. So even to look at the same model as yours that sold and to compare across, it's not always relevant. That's when a professional like me could come in and give you a bit more interpretation and to look at different things. Even some of this monthly pricing graphs. I mean, if you look at this, it's all pretty much standard. If you look at what happened in July, you see a bit of the dip in the average price. Now, a lot of people think, well, I'm not going to list my home in July or August. Yes, it's true that buyers sometimes go on vacation through the summer. However, you have way less competition. So I've seen records broken in August, in December. They can be good times to sell, but you have to be really careful and you have to do a lot of research and have an agent who can give you the right advice. So let's get to individual sales. So the freehold townhouses, we actually had more sales than new listings, which means that it's actually swallowed up some of the previous inventory. Average price has stayed pretty much remarkably similar. And we've got the percent of list went down a little bit. So if a home's listed $100,000, this would basically say that it's selling at $98,000 on average, compared to 99 right across the board previously. Average days on the market came up a little bit. So it was interesting. So even though there were more sales than new listings, we still found that in some ways the townhouses were a little bit slower. Semis really took off, and part of that is because there were 34 sales but only 14 new listings. So it really swallowed up a lot of the inventory from the last few months. Price point, even if you look, the average price was at $488, median price $474. So some big sales in the semis, and average days on the market was 16. So that by far was the hottest market. Usually it's always townhouses. in July, it was actually the semis that beat everybody. And detached is tough because you've got the single garage and then you also have the double garage, and it's really difficult to split those stats up. But when you look right across the board, detached sort of stuck right around 60% of the sales compared to the new listings. So in other words, 107 sales, 187 new listings. So as a percentage, 60% of the new stuff that came out ended up selling, and about 27 days is right on point. Condo townhouses are basically the cheapest option in town, and so we saw more sales than new listings. The average price was a bit higher, but that's probably because I think one or two of the sales happened in the Robert Street condo towns, which are the most expensive ones in town, and they don't come up very often. And average days on the market certainly came down from the 32 and 39s that we saw in a couple of the other months. But it's very subjective to what's currently listed. Condo apartments, same kind of thing, about 35 days. The interesting thing here is the median price was higher than the average price. So that means, at least in my eyes, that there's a couple more of the big ones selling, and that's a positive thing. 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, we're seeing a lot more empty nesters that are moving out of their house and trying to get closer to the grandkids. That's certainly a market phenomenon in Milton. July 2013 pretty much followed the averages. For the year to date, the sales to new listings were a little bit higher at 57 compared to 50%. And it's not true what a lot of people say is some people say, well, every home in Milton sells. It's not true. These numbers say that 50% of them basically sell every month that are basically coming on the market. So average days on market was 22%, of list is 98%. And so all of that is documented here. We've got a couple nice things that people have said about us. And we've helped about 1,000 people go through this process. So we really know what's going on. And we can really give you advice from just an experience level that most agents don't have. The average agent in Milton right now is selling 5 homes a year. And there's been months where we've actually done more than that. So there's an advantage in the sense that we just have more experience. To find out the individual sales, you're probably on the website right now. You just go down below and click those links. And then the 3 things that you can do next, you can ask us for a pinpoint price analysis. And so that's where we basically give you an idea of the highest and lowest, really the range of value within your home, pinpointing at certain time zones. So if you want it sold in 60 days, we can even guarantee that happens, and there's a number that'll make that happen, or 30 days or 1 week. And so our job is to really help you understand price. Your job is to choose the price, and we're facilitating, we're letting you know what's success and what's not success as you go through the process. Because when you list a home, you can really see the dashboard. You can see the number of clicks, the calls, the appointments, the feedback from agents. We can really give you a lot of data to make better decisions when you're actually selling. The second thing is the room by room review. So what we do is we actually have a 16-page guide. We come over, we give you an idea of the things you should, and probably even more important is the things you shouldn't do before you get your home ready to maximize the sale potential. It does not have to be expensive in any way. In fact, it shouldn't be, but there are certain cases where it makes sense, for example, to put in hardwood floors or to put in new appliances or to paint or so on. Some of those are a little bit bigger ticket items. And the last thing is the silent market. So we have such a great outreach with Milton Daily Homes. We got an email list of 10,000 people. Our past clients, some of our social network connections, we can really probably find an opportunity for you in that big bucket of opportunity. So every month we probably, well, I should say every year, we probably find about 5 people homes that aren't even listed on the market. And I joke sometimes I should call it the Chuck LS, where we're just making matches away from the main MLS system. And at any given time, our team is probably working with about maybe 20 or 25 buyers, and right across the spectrum, anywhere from $1 million buyers all the way to first-time buyers in the under 300 range. So if you're interested, what I want you to do is to just send me an email or give me a call. Let me know what kind of home you have, before you list it, just let us know. Maybe there's somebody there and we can make a match, and we can probably save you a bit of time and money, and just make it a much easier process. Because the ideal selling experience is someone shows up and says, when do you want to move? And they write you a check, and then it's over, and you're not dealing with showings or all that other stuff. So that's what we'd aim to do in an ideal experience. So any of those things, give me a call, 905-693-9346, or Chuck at charltonadvantage.com. And you can even stop by our office. We've got a beautiful new office at 450 Bronte, which is the Green Life building, Green Life Commercial. And so it's the one with the big solar panel. We're right on the main floor, just off the main corridor. We'd love to have you in and give you coffee and show you around and talk about your plans. So have a great month. We'll see you next month with another episode of the Milton Price Report.